WWE's video library situation right now is kind of a mess. I have a feeling it's not going to stay like that for very much longer, and it seems like WWE has kind of a strategy for how they're going to handle their video library going forward, and we're going to talk about that here in a second. I was kind of interested in this because the WCW channel started up a couple days ago. They've been live streaming their launch for several days now. And it's been kind of interesting to get a grasp between this and the WWE Vault channel launching, to get a grasp on what WWE exactly is doing with their digital content, with their vast back catalog of content. Let's go back to 2014. You guys remember back in February 2014, the WWE Network launched.
Today is a great day.
For $10 a month. For $9.99 a month, you could get not only all the current pay-per-views, all the ones that are airing live every single month, you also got their expansive back catalog, which they did back then an excellent job of loading up that back catalog in order to try to entice all the wrestling fans around the world. They were snapping up back catalogs from a ton of different promotions and putting them on the WWE Network. They're even finding obscure wrestling matches like the last Battle of Atlanta and uploading those to the WWE Network. It was an insanely good deal, and it was a really, really good user interface as well. I remember getting on there, and you can load up an episode of Nitro, for example, and they would have chapter breaks. So you can see, this match happened here, this match happened here. If there was Jeff Jarrett in singles action, you knew that he was fighting Chris Benoit because they tried to erase Chris Benoit's name from the WWE Network. And so it was funny, whenever there'd be a Chris Benoit match, they would show the Chris Benoit match, but it would just say so-and-so against singles action, or Raven in singles action. It's he must be taking on Chris Benoit because they don't want that name on the WWE Network. Anyways, it was a funny little quirk of the network back then. And they were really doing a good job, to the point that whenever there were rumors of WWE purchasing Ring of Honor, for example, or even TNA, for example, those rumors were always kind of credibly assuming that one reason WWE would want to purchase those promotions was simply to get the back catalog from those promotions, because obviously a ton of people in WWE came from those prominent smaller promotions. And I say smaller compared to WWE. And so you could get on there and see Smoky Mountain Wrestling, tons of old NWA stuff. There is just a ton of content for wrestling history people that just enjoyed watching wrestling from whenever, weird shit from back in the day. Once the Peacock deal happened, they migrated a lot of that stuff from the WWE Network to Peacock. And it seemed kind of obvious at that point that the licensing approach would be one that WWE would start taking with their stuff. At some point, some way, I remember there being some executives being forced out of the company because the rumor was that they wanted the WWE Network to remain the thing. They wanted WWE to have their own, I think they call it OTT, over the top service, that people would plunk their $10 down, give it to WWE, and in return, they would get the WWE Network. The problem with that is WWE would then have to put the legwork in, not only hosting the stuff, but also always marketing it to try to get more and more people to subscribe and try to limit turnover or churn or whatever you want to call it, where people drop out. That takes a lot of effort. That takes a lot of money. And I think some of those voices within WWE convinced Vince McMahon, hey, this is a terrible idea. What you want to do is license your shit out to the highest bidder. You get a lot more money and a lot less headaches. The problem for us, the consumer, the wrestling fans, is that you also get kind of a shittier product. And we're at the point now where not only is for example, the Peacock product way, way less cool than the WWE Network product, but also a lot of their content is just scattered all over the place. So for example, because Raw ended up on Netflix, now, if I want to watch an old episode of Raw, I got to hope that they put it on Netflix. Right now on Netflix, and let me double check this here. Let me go over to the old internet. Here's the WCW Vault right here. Now on Netflix, they've got this thing called the WWE Vault, which you can look here. They've got in 1993, 7 episodes, 1994, 4 episodes, 1990, let's see here, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2000, 2001. Evidently, Raw didn't happen between 2002 and 2021. So they've got, it looks like they're slowly loading these episodes onto Netflix. It looks like they've got everything from 2024, 2023, and 2022. But then going back before then, it's really sparse. So like, if you want to watch Raw, what the hell are you supposed to do? If I want to watch a Raw from the year 2005, where can I find that? All right, well, here I am on Peacock. If I click on Raw here, what happens exactly? I get like highlights from Monday Night Raw, the Monday Night War, some classic Raw matches that I guess they allowed to stay there, but they don't have any actual episodes of WWE Raw there on Peacock. And on top of that, the Peacock deal actually expires in March of I think it runs through March of 2026. So as of the end of March 2026, none of this stuff is going to be available on Peacock because I still think you can watch. Yeah, you still have all the ECW there on Peacock. Here's that right there. The rise and fall of ECW. So you got that right there. I imagine they probably still have WCW content, if I'm not mistaken. NXT is completely gone from Peacock as well, with the exception of the premium live events, because they've migrated, I think, those over to the CW. To the CW app. Now, if you have a VPN, you can check out some NXT Vault stuff on Netflix. And let's see if I can get to WCW. Okay, WCW, we do have Nitro. Okay, we've got all the Nitro still on Peacock. So basically it's a mess. So I asked on the community thread today on WrestleJuice for people to let me know what their favorite wrestling things were. And 115 of you responded here. Let me see if I can migrate this over to this. Oh, bring this over here. And there we go. Look at that. So it's kind of a random post here, but I was curious where I'd be able to find some very random things right here. Now, obviously, Survivor Series 2003, Mania 40, SummerSlam 91, WrestleMania 21. So a lot of these are just straight up pay-per-views, which kind of illustrates to me the point that I think one of the main selling points for old WWE stuff is always going to be the actual pay-per-views, not necessarily individual episodes. Like if somebody was like, my favorite thing was like a March 19th episode in 1995 of ECW. Well, that might be an issue, although it seemingly is still on the Peacock. But a lot of these are simply, oh, look at this. Steve LeClaire, this is perfect. Says WWF Monday Night Raw, May 26th, 1997. This is amazing. I'm so glad this guy put this here. That's great. Let's see if we can find WWF Monday Night Raw, May 26, 1997. He says, not necessarily a show itself, but fond memories of watching that episode. Here's a quick aside. The first full episode of wrestling I think I ever watched was me and 2 of my close friends were driving from Sacramento down to LA because our friend had college orientation a year before me and my other friend were going to start going there. No, none of these friends are Larson. One of them was Big Jeff. You guys have probably heard me talk about him. I also did a Star Trek podcast with him for a short period of time. Anyways, we were going down there, and outside the Grapevine, our car broke down, and we had to stay at this Motel 6 while the car was getting repaired overnight. And so we turned on the TV, and WCW Saturday Night was playing. Now, I was not a huge wrestling guy, but I was starting to hang out with these people who were big into wrestling. So I was like, okay, sure. So there's like an August something 1997 edition of WCW Saturday Night that out there somewhere that I'd love to find that I've never been able to find before. And I know Harlem Heat was on it. That's kind of all I remember. Anyways, let's see if we can find WWF Monday Night Raw from May 26, 1997. Okay, looks like we're in luck. From 1997, we've got 17 episodes. What are we looking for? We're looking for May 26th. March, April, May 26, 1997. Here we go. Okay, so Steve LeClaire, you're in luck because Paul Bearer brings The Undertaker to his knees with a family secret, and Shawn Michaels joins forces with Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that's pretty great. Unfortunately, if you want any episode in between July 21st and August 11th of 1997, you're shit out of luck. Nor are you going to be able to find any episode in early September of 1997. There's only one episode in October, November, and December of 97 also. So man, oh man, what is WWE doing? Now, from what Greg Miller said on the video he made discussing his release, layoff, whatever, from WWE, because that happened recently, his speculation, I think, is that WWE is really trying to get this marriage with Netflix going full on, which I think means that once it comes time to renegotiate the Peacock thing, that is going to either Peacock's going to have to way overpay, or pretty much everything is going to go from Peacock fully onto Netflix here in the United States. Of course, internationally, I've got a VPN. So internationally, I route all my stuff through Canada. I make it look like I'm coming from Canada so that I can watch SmackDown on Netflix and I can watch NXT on Netflix. So I don't have to pay a cable TV bill. I got rid of my cable TV bill because I was able to do that, because now I can watch AEW on Max. So it seems like WWE Network went from the network to Peacock to Netflix. Now, along the way, they shed certain things. Like, I'm pretty sure once they went from the WWE Network to Peacock, you lost a lot of the, what did they used to call them? Hidden gems. It was hidden gems. We lost a lot of that stuff. Like, I'm pretty sure the last Battle of Atlanta ended up just sort of disappearing. Maybe it's on the YouTube channel. I don't know. But a lot of that stuff ended up missing. It did not land on Peacock. Similarly, once they migrate, if this happens, everything over to the Netflix, guess what? We're going to lose a little bit more. It's like a copy of a copy of a copy. It's just certain things fall off. They're like, oh, we don't need this. And if we don't need it, we're not going to put it on there. Enter the WWE Vault channel and the WCW channel and what would probably almost certainly be the ECW channel. They are uploading stuff to these channels all the time. So you could take a look here. This is the WCW one. Let's look at what's most popular here. Okay, this makes total sense. The formation of the NWO Bash of the Beach, 1996, got 250,000 views almost. Hollywood Hogan versus Goldberg, full match there. Nitro episodes. We've got a full WCW Greed 2001, which I think is the last WCW pay-per-view ever. We've got Sting versus Hollywood Hogan in this clusterfuck of a match. We've got, what is this? NWO versus Randy Savage, Sting, and the Giant. The first episode of Nitro right here. So they're just uploading random shit on this WCW channel. Some of it is really popular, some of it not so much. But look at this. We've got full episodes of Thunder. In terms of like trying to navigate this thing, though, it's not exactly on par with like the WWE Network or even Peacock, to be honest with you. Although they do have WCW full Thunder episodes in the form of playlists. It does seem like WWE is going to be migrating the stuff that probably isn't going to be much of a selling point to Netflix, or even if they re-up with Peacock, the stuff that's not really going to be much of a selling point to those streaming platforms, that's what they're going to be using. The WCW Vault, the WWE Vault, because there's a lot of cool shit on this WWE Vault. There's all sorts of neat stuff here. Don't play that because I don't want a copyright strike. Let's take a look at the most popular ones here on the WWE Vault. What is this? Drew McIntyre and Shane McMahon versus Undertaker and Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules. It's got 6.6 million views. Why it has that many views, I have no idea. A little bit on the weird side. We've got End of an Era. That's at 3.5 million. Bret Hart's one of his last matches at 3.4 million. The Shield. So you got like playlists. You've got all sorts of cool shit, and you've got stuff on here that is also just really, really interesting. Like they've got all sorts of behind the scenes stuff that are just sort of interesting. Look at this unseen mixed tag match right here. What is this? Kevin Owens and Becky Lynch against Grayson Waller and Nia Jax at WWE Live, some sort of like house show, I guess. Madison Square Garden steel cage matches, an hour and 46. You got like old Coliseum videos here. The story of The Undertaker. They've got playlists like that. WWE Superstars and Evolve. So all sorts of weird shit is going to the WWE Vault because maybe they think that that's simply the way real wrestling fans, but wrestling fans who are really into this shit are okay consuming it. You just go up to the search field and you type it in and you see if it pops up. User IM8RU2B7U says, my favorite episode of TV is The Raw, where Foley wins the title against The Rock. All right, let's pop that into the WWE, into YouTube and see what happens. Full match, The Rock versus Mankind, WWE Championship right here, 2.2 million views. And these days, given that so many people are watching YouTube on their television, it's kind of not surprising that WWE has this uploaded. They did it 4 years ago. And look, there's a couple different versions of it. The Wrestling History Writer has it for 2.2 million views here. So it looks like WWE is simply going to be utilizing YouTube as their library for their back catalog, because I really doubt that Netflix is going to want to be as completionist as the WWE Network was, or even maybe to the extent that Peacock was. Now, is this a good thing or a bad thing? There's pros and cons to everything. If you look back at the WWE Network and you look at their user interface, it was awesome. It was so easy to use. It was brilliant. Even Peacock's is pretty decent. Having to navigate the wild world of the fucking WCW vault and the WWE vault, I don't know. I don't know if people are going to be super into that, but the bottom line is a lot of stuff is going to be there. If you want it, you could just search it and find it. Nothing is permanent when it comes to digital media. I think one of the reasons why they're going so hard on the YouTube stuff is because YouTube feels like it's probably going to be a decent, free, cheap, easy, long-term solution that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. Now, much like a lot of other platforms in the past, plenty of things have disappeared, and YouTube could easily be one of them. But YouTube at this point, it's probably a safe bet that it's going to be around for a long time. So it's probably a good bet that WWE is doing this because they understand that. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Right now, it seems like WWE's library strategy is a bit of a mess because contracts are coming up. They're transitioning to Netflix, and they're trying to figure out what the hell do we have? What do we do with all this video that's just laying around? And now it seems like they're coming to a conclusion on that. Just dump it all on YouTube. It wouldn't shock me if they found some justification to come up with a WWE vault, and I don't know what they'd call it, to house some of the territory wrestling stuff they have as well that wouldn't necessarily fit in WCW or WWE. They'll probably start up a new channel for that. Maybe, just maybe, they'll put that on kind of like, they'll use ECW content as the anchor for that instead of a dedicated ECW channel. Whether or not anybody would want that or not, I don't know. I kind of feel like they should probably just do a dedicated ECW channel at some point. I have no doubt they're going to do that. But what do you do with the Smoky Mountain Wrestling, with the AWA stuff that they own? What do you do with all that stuff? That's going to be the big question. Where is that stuff going to go? Because they've got all that stuff somewhere in their vaults ready to be uploaded. So, and in fact, I think a lot of this stuff might already be uploaded because I've had plenty of videos where I'm reacting to something that WWE owns that's not WWE, like some old territory shit. I forget what it was, but then WWE sent me like a copyright claim. It wasn't a strike. It was just a claim. It was fine, but it was like, oh, okay. This was automatically flagged, which means they've already uploaded it to YouTube somehow, some way. Are they ever going to release that stuff? So it'll be interesting to see what their strategy is moving ahead. The days of the WWE Network, sadly, are gone and done, and they're not coming back. This looks to be the new way. What do you guys think about that? Let me know in the comments below. I don't know. I find this stuff kind of interesting, being a content creator now for way too long, since 2000.